Hello out there world, hello friends. It's author, the Meerkat Man, the Mongoose Man, Grant Malcolm mcilrath, and it's a beautiful 1st of February 2026, and the wind is picking up a bit. It's a scorchingly hot day, over 32 degrees centigrade already, and I'm enjoying Mongoose Magic Moments, of course, right here in the Meerkatmagic Valley Reserve of the Meerkatmagic Conservation Project. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday wherever you are in the world. As usual, I like to give people who are joining us for the first time an idea of where we are. This private reserve is around Oudtshoorn in the Western Cape of South Africa, and that is part of the World Heritage Site mountain range, UNESCO World Heritage Site in the distance to the north, the Great Black Mountain Range. It is difficult to imagine that mountain range could ever have snow on it, but often it is covered in a thick carpet of snow from May, June, July, even sometimes in December, when temperatures can reach over 50 degrees centigrade. We have in fact had snow on that mountain range. This is of course the Little Karoo, also known as the Klein Karoo, and much more well known as the Meerkatmagic Valley. Of course, our film star is never far away from her wildlife hotels. A big shout out to our very special sponsors out there around the world, and to Alessia Torchini from Italy, and of course Asia Chili from Associazione Suricati Italia. TSEBOKOLODI. I'm quite sure that our film star species Synictis peniculata right here, who is enjoying the shade along with myself right now, is pregnant. I just put up a video about that. Please do drop a comment. What do you think about her at the moment? Do you think she's pregnant? We might see her stand up in a bit, and then we'll be able to have a better look at what I believe to be an early stage of pregnancy. The gestation is roughly 10.5 to 11 weeks, which is very similar to that of a meerkat. Welcome out there, everybody. You're watching Mongoose Magic Moments live with me, author the Meerkat Man, the Mongoose Man, right here in my private reserve in South Africa. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for joining the stream. It's good to see you. Yeah. And recently, our friend from Sweden, one of our newest subscribers, Henrik the Gardener, joined the channel. Buon pomeriggio, amore mio. Ti amo. Our lovely sponsor all the way from Italy has just joined our channel as well, Alessia Torchini, Associazione Suricati Italia. We greatly appreciate everything you do. And again, for our most recent sponsors out there, yes, good morning, little puppy, indeed, CUCCIOLINA, which means little puppy in Italian. If you would like to name one of the future generations of babies, which I believe could be born around March, you're welcome to check the comments and adopt a meerkat and a mongoose with us. Still waiting to see if she guards, then we'll have a better look at her to see whether she is pregnant. It's very difficult to tell with a mongoose like her because of her very fine hair covering her body. However, with meerkats, they don't have as much hair on the underside, the stomach area, so it's easier to see. And meerkats can have up to 6 babies, so it is much more difficult with the yellow mongoose to be sure of the pregnancy. Of course, in the Kalahari Desert in my research, and also seen on National Geographic with Nick Stringer, the film we did back in 2000, you can actually see meerkat fetuses with ultrasonography that I was busy doing. The very first time in history we were able to document the development of a fetus in a wild meerkat. It was incredible to see. So we know for a fact that meerkats can have 6 babies. There is a possibility that they may even be able to have 8. Usually meerkats and the yellow mongoose do not have more than 6 mammae, 3 nipples on either side. The lower ones are known as inguinal, the slightly higher ones, abdominal, and then of course pectoral. Sometimes, however, they will have 7 or even 8 mammae or nipples. So it is possible that they can have larger litters. However, there is something very interesting that happens with meerkats. Let's see if our film star comes out again. Just checking around in case any predators are nearby that may have disturbed her. TSEBOKOLODI. There, she's coming out again. Of course, it's very important for mongooses and meerkats to be on constant alert. Hello out there. Thank you so much for your comment. ZEYNE PBILGIN 8741. That's quite an interesting description there. I hope I've spelled it out correctly. I am using a mobile device here, so it's a bit small, the screen. Thank you so much for your comment. I do appreciate it, and thank you for your likes out there, friends. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and tell a friend, especially a school or university student. We're all about conservation through education here and sharing information about the wildlife. I'd like to address a very important point which I've been talking about over the last week with various videos about artificial intelligence and the deception out there in nature, where lots of videos are being created to talk about animals that would never even occur together and make up stories about them. Now, that may seem entertaining, but it actually has a severely negative impact on these wild animals, because people get a misunderstanding and a misrepresentation of what actually happens in nature, and then they believe what they're seeing. And of course, many people are not even labeling the fact that these are artificial intelligence videos. For example, I recently saw a pregnant honey badger being defended by a mongoose, supposedly, which is absolutely ridiculous. They are complete rivals for food, and in fact, the honey badger is more likely going to attack a mongoose than share anything with it. And then in the video, which I discussed recently, there was an eagle that supposedly came down to protect the mongoose from a snake, and the mongoose was protecting the chick. Now, this may seem like a lovely story, but it's all a fantasy. And unfortunately, many students watch this and they grow up believing this, and it's just a waste of their time. So I like to bring you, the public, no matter who you are and what your profession is, the real story out there right now, live. So it cannot be edited. There's no pre-script or postscript or music or anything added here. What you see is what you get right now with a wildlife research biologist. For those who know me, you will know I was qualified as a professional nature conservationist in 1993. You may have seen my films with the BBC, National Geographic, and Discovery Channel. Those are, of course, post-edit documentaries. A live stream enables you, the viewer, to see the truth. There's no nonsense artificial intelligence post-edit or anything happening here. And that's exactly why I do these streams, so that you can see it for yourself. It's also why I offer the opportunity for our sponsors to visit Alessia Torchini and Asia Chili from Italy have visited here. You can find out how to adopt a wild meerkat from the Ungulungu Meerkat group that I've protected in the valley since 2001. The TSEBOKOLODI yellow mongoose family, and this is the dominant female of that family since 2008. And the Shongolo grey mongoose family. More about them hopefully in the future. They're incredibly shy and secretive and difficult to film and get research on, but I am getting closer and closer to finding out more about their secretive lives every single year. Of course, as a research biologist, it's all about being extremely patient and understanding animal communication. Many people who join my videos for the first time are often shocked when they hear these strange sounds and me talking constantly. And I'll tell you right now why I do this. It's very important that our film star right here and other wildlife that I work with does not think that I'm a predator using stealth and being quiet to sneak up on them, because that would be a terrible disaster right there. Because I let her know where I am at all times. I'm just basically part of the neighborhood, part of a territory. And if she cannot see me, she must be able to hear me. Also, this crunching vegetation, because we're in a drought right now, and it's been terribly dry for over 8 months. We may have some rainfall coming through in the next few days, apparently, a thunderstorm, which we are all hoping for. But the reserve river has dried up completely now. So the dried vegetation makes a lot of unpredictable sounds, and that could be very alarming to an animal such as a hunted hunter, mongoose, and a meerkat. What I'm going to do is slowly get up while she's gone into the wildlife hotel. It's a good opportunity to do this. And just in time. I moved quickly there, but if she saw me moving quickly, it could have been a disaster. And that's why I choose my moments carefully when I move, and to make sure that I do not disturb any vegetation here, which is very dry and crunchy. I will be calling. This call is NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, as the psychologist professionals know it as. Associative learning. I have been using it with various wildlife species for decades. It is highly effective. This is how you, the viewer, who sees the close-ups in films, is actually able to see it. Using my techniques since 1993, world-famous superstars, and of course, I'm talking about the animals, have been filmed by notable presenters such as Simon King. You might know him better from the Big Cat Diaries. We worked together on BBC Meerkats and Natural World. And of course, Sir David Attenborough has visited our site with Cambridge University Large Animal Research Group. Professor Tim Clutton-Brock, probably one of the most well-known research biologists in history. And I was fortunate to have him as my first employer, along with the Mammal Research Institute and Professor Skinner. These are legends in our time. Mammals of Southern Africa. Mammal Research Institute and Cambridge University Large Animal Research Group, LARG, in Britain. It is an international collaboration. And as I mentioned, legends such as Sir David Attenborough have worked on our site. Nick Stringer from National Geographic, Nigel Marvin from Discovery Channel, Meerkat Madness, Meerkat Adventure with myself and Nigel Marvin, Richard Goss, Keir Downer Productions. There are many. The point I'm making is everybody has had to use these various associations in order to get close to the animals, to bring you the unprecedented films that you may have seen, including Meerkat Manor and all the others that have followed since then. So the sounds I'm making are not just because I'm making a sound. I'm making these sounds because the animals here know me very well. This film star has followed me, and I have followed her in this valley, and our lives are intertwined since November 2018. So I am part of the neighborhood. For anybody who has seen the recent videos as well over the last week, which I've been putting up, about the birds that follow the mongoose around. Here's the Meerkat mansion. You can see she could be anywhere in this entire valley. There are no fences here. She can go wherever she wants. And just a point about fences. Fences are not deterrents for digging animals such as the meerkat and the mongoose species that occur here. They will go through, over, and under fences. Meerkats will even climb up onto fences and sit on the fence. Yes, it's quite amusing to see occasionally a meerkat a few meters off the ground that has climbed up onto these fences and is sitting with its legs hanging between the wires as if it is some kind of a chair. I've seen this many times, and that's just an important point I'd like to mention to anybody who does have wildlife on their property. Please remember, we are not the owners of wildlife. We are the custodians. Now, wildlife is everybody's heritage, and that is why, even though I'm a professional nature conservationist, and I have been for decades, the animals I study are not my animals. They are not tame. They can do whatever they want. We are simply observers having a very rare and unique insight into their lives. Please do drop a comment. Thank you for those who already have. I do appreciate it. It's good to know where you're staying right now. Which part of the world are you joining us from? We've had people from Alaska. Recently, we've had from Minneapolis. And we've had people all the way from the Philippines and very recently from Sweden. Again, a shout out to Henrik, the gardener out there. I haven't forgotten you. Maybe you're watching the stream now or will watch it. Yeah, it's difficult to see her even when we are less than 2 meters away, but that's her right there. She's sleeping. It's very hot right now. It's easily going over 32 degrees centigrade. There's barely a breeze, but it's a lovely day. And I thought I'd just bring you a bit of Mongoose Magic Moments to celebrate the start of February. I'm really hoping it's going to be an excellent month for the world. Yeah, and I'm hoping that we are going to get lots of good rainfall arriving to break this disastrous drought in the area. Some people have asked me, Grant, why do you go to such extreme climates like the Kalahari Desert to the northwest of South Africa, right on the boundary of Namibia and Botswana, and spend 7 years of your life in such a hostile environment? Why have you gone to the Little Karoo in South Africa in the Western Cape, the Klein Karoo, to work with animals in such extreme hostile climates? Why do you keep doing it? And that is because as a nature conservationist, I go where the animals are. Whether it's comfortable for me as a research biologist or not is irrelevant. Yeah. And all the research assistants, postdocs, doctorates, professors who have been in my research areas know exactly the same truth. Yeah. Our day sometimes begins at 3 o'clock in the morning in summer, so we are there before the earliest wild animal might decide to make an appearance, which could be anything well before sunrise, right throughout the day to after sunset. Which brings me to the topic about why are we seeing a yellow mongoose sleeping in the middle of the day? Because she can afford to sleep. Simply because this species, Senictus penicillata, is crepuscular, active at dawn and dusk, and nocturnal, active at night. Just an explanation on some of the jargon terms. And of course, diurnal. So unlike the meerkats from the Ungulungu meerkat group, which are foraging in the shade right now, and I can guarantee you they are not sleeping, they are only active during the daytime hours. They cannot afford to sleep for hours and hours in the middle of the day. So even on a scorchingly hot day of 40 degrees centigrade plus, they will be active beneath the shade of the trees, which can be 10 degrees cooler than the surface temperature we have found. They will only return to their sleeping areas right at the very last rays of sunlight. They will maximize their foraging. However, in winter, they will wake up well after sunrise, forage throughout the day without going into the shade, and go to sleep early. Again, yellow mongoose, such as Senictus penicillata, the species here, is highly adaptable to different environments, and that is why they are outcompeting many other species, such as the meerkats. Meerkats are highly endangered, and I'm going to say this, please take note again, meerkats are highly endangered, IUCN. Red Data Book, you are incorrect in generalizing and saying, oh, least concern or not a concern because they are talking about the meerkat species. In the Kalahari Desert, they do not plow over the burrows, the ground. They do that here because this is a different subspecies. So in areas where it is intensively farmed and has been for decades and decades, burrowing animals have lost their homes. And when they have lost their homes, they cannot occur in those areas. Some people say to me, but Grant, surely digging animals can simply dig up new sleeping places if they have enough time. Yes, but when a predator is attacking them, absolutely not. Imagine, please, for a moment that you were a meerkat or a mongoose and you've just arrived here in my reserve. Let's have a look around. So I want to put this in perspective. I like to give people examples. Here we are, and you've just arrived. Welcome to the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve. Everything is trying to make a living off everything else here. There are no holes here. And if you did not know that there was a wildlife hotel here, which you would not know, you would have no way of knowing where the safety is. And then a lanner falcon, fastest bird on the planet, reaching speeds almost at 400 kilometers an hour, attacks. You will have less than maybe 3 or 4 seconds to get to an escape tunnel, and that is if you know where to go. And that is why, with meerkats, they have a matrilineal structure. Few people are aware of this. They know that it's matriarchal quite often. The females are the leaders, not the males, like with elephants as well. However, it is matrilineal. So the mother has inherited the territory from her mother, and her daughter will inherit it from her. And these unbroken chains could extend for centuries or even thousands of years. And they inherit their territories like their sleeping burrows or these wildlife hotels like you see right here, which is an artificial one that we have created because the inheritances have been destroyed by farming over decades. And this is unique in the world, this conservation practice. It is the equivalent of adding terrestrial coral reefs into an area where ships and other structures are sunk in the sea to create the equivalent of marine habitat. There you can still see her. Ah, beautiful, snoozing there, stretching out in the cool pipe beneath this insulation of soil. Well, Alessia Torchini from Italy and Asia Chile and various sponsors from Associazione Suricati Italia. Big shout out to you all. Thank you so much for your sponsorship and support. We are creating additional habitat for animals who have lost their homes and cannot simply dig new homes. This allows them to move into areas where they previously occurred, because they're wild, they can go where they want, but now they have an opportunity to escape from predators in those areas and then gradually recolonize and re-establish homes. This is unique in conservation history. It has never been done before, and we are pioneering it right here, the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project and the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve, together with Associazione Suricati Italia. Please check out the comments on various videos to find out more, and you can even come out and help build wildlife hotels. You might wonder, why do I call them wildlife hotels? Just like the Trump or the Ritz, to name some famous places, controversial ones too, of course. Many different visitors, many inhabitants stay at these structures, but they do not use the same room or chamber, as I've discussed in detail in my Meerkats book 2016. Please get yourself a copy or check it out in a university or library around the world. Yeah, it is the first and only conservation book on meerkats that has ever been published in history. It's a fact. Documents my work with them going back to 1993. But I also do discuss Synictis penicillata, the yellow mongoose, because my primary focus as a nature conservationist is to get the information from my scientific publications, which we have many of, and you can get hold of them easily in any university or library again. You can ask me if you would like specific links to these publications. Please just drop a comment anytime on any video. I would also like to thank you all, and that is why I'm doing this extra video today, because we have reached over 2 million views. Thank you to you all. Yeah, over 2 million views on my conservation channel. That is a lot of exposure to some very important points about protecting animals, such as please don't plow over their homes, because people think, oh, they'll just dig up another hole to escape from a predator. You can see that lovely yawn showing the fact that our dominant female here has no lower teeth, no canines, no incisors, and a big part of her lip on the right-hand side of her lower jaw is missing. It was ripped off. She was very nearly killed. In fact, it is incredible that she has survived, and that is why she has been given the name CENERENTOLA, Cinderella, because of her extreme hardships that she has endured, and she has come out as a champion, the dominant female of the TSEBOKOLODI yellow mongoose group, all the way, an unbroken line from her mother from 2008. Her mother was incredibly famous and was in fact shown on the big screen in the Super Bowl, watched by millions of people along with the Ungulungu Meerkats back in 2010. Yes. BMW Unscripted, the series, Grant, G-R-A-N-T. There were 5 films made by BMW in 2010 specifically and shown in the Super Bowl. My 2 BMW cars back then were chosen to represent the whole of Africa. Out of every single driver out there with a BMW, there were only 5 of us chosen from everyone out of billions. And her mother was in that film. So it is a very, very important accolade for conservation awareness, because unfortunately many people, and welcome to the stream, thank you so much for your visit and your view. Please do drop a like, and please send me a comment where you're watching from. Currently, we are busy looking at a wildlife hotel, and our film star, CUCCIOLINA CENERENTOLA TSEBOKOLODI, 4 different names for her, is snoozing. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit closer there. There you can see a dark mask. Quite similar, in fact, to the meerkats. The dark eyeliners allow her to look straight up into the harsh glare of the sunlight and see predators approaching. Many aerial predators attack directly from the direction of the sun. I'm going to drop another bit of scientific fact here for anybody out there. Procavia capensis, the rock hyrax, the dussie related to the elephant, amazingly enough, has what is called an umbraculum, which is a lens adaptation in its eye to filter out the harsh glare of the sunlight. So it can also look directly into the sunlight at predators attacking, using the usual glare of the sun to blind their prey. A bit of anatomy there. So our film star is just having a siesta. Please do feel welcome to ask me any questions you like. And that is why I bring you these live streams, because I'm totally against all of the nonsense being created on artificial intelligence to confuse the public about what really happens in nature, and people see impossible nonsense happening with animals, and then unfortunately people who do not know any better often believe what they're seeing is real. And many AI creators are not publishing the fact that this is in fact a creation of AI. So what, you might wonder, how is this going to make any difference? For one, it wastes people's time completely, because they cannot learn anything of any value from something that is completely made up like that about nature. And that is why these are unedited wildlife documentaries, the true behind the scenes in science. And that is why I encourage students from around the world to join the streams, so you can ask a wildlife research biologist your questions and not have them filtered through AI, and not have some post-edit or predetermined script come and blab out a whole lot of nonsense. Yeah. Anything can happen in these wildlife streams. Recently, there was a snake interaction. This area is surrounded by wildlife. We even have leopard nearby, only a few hundred meters away from us, in fact, and I won't reveal the exact location for their own protection. You might wonder, what protection for the leopard? Protection from people. Unfortunately, This is one of the reasons as well why I don't reveal the exact location of wildlife. This is a private reserve. It is not open to the public, but sponsors can visit and actually see the animals that they have got to know perhaps even over decades, and their families and subsequent generations. If you adopt a meerkat or mongoose, and you can check the comments for details, you can also name future generations as part of your adoption. And that is why we have animals that are very well known around the world. This is not simply a yellow mongoose. This is Kakulu. That's a Zulu name, Kakulu. Her brother was also named, who is in a different area now, Giabonga, which is thank you, and her name is very much. Together, the sponsor called them thank you very much in Zulu. Then we have CUCCIOLINA, named by Alessia Torchini in Italy. CUCCIOLINA, little puppy. CENERENTOLA, Cinderella, because she has survived so many hardships. TSEBOKOLODI is Tswana. So we've got Zulu, Italian, Tswana, and you can add another name as a sponsor. And of course, there are many different animals that we study here. If you would like to name the next generation of the meerkats, the 4 babies that were born just before Christmas last year, I did a live stream. It was the first one in history of wild baby meerkats coming up in the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve. It was wonderful. It may seem like there's nothing there, but she is there. She's just very well camouflaged. That's the limit of me stretching across this vegetation. But there you can see. Please do try these different sounds at home. And let me know in the comments. How do the different animals that you may live with respond to these? You can try these different sounds. They soothe many different animals, because if you're doing something with a monotonous sound, it alerts animals in the area of your presence, even if they cannot see you. They can hear you. They don't have to waste energy looking around. And again, as I've mentioned before, predators are stealthy, so they are not going to generally make sounds to warn their prey of their presence. There you can see her just sleeping in the pipe there. All right, I'm going to sign off now. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of February ahead. Please do turn on your bell notifications for our live stream subscriptions, because you never know when they can occur, because I work on a schedule of the wildlife, not on human schedules. We're about to sign off, but our film star has just made an appearance. She, of course, will not sleep for very long in the middle of the day. And there she is, just sticking her head out of the Wildlife Hotel, our beautiful film star. Wonderful. And that, of course, is a Mongoose Magic Moment right there. And I'm signing off for now. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining the stream. Please like,